Captain Jake Morrison stared at the screen in front of him. The distress signal had been weak, almost too quiet to hear, but it was there, coming from the edge of space where no human ship should be. "How long has it been broadcasting?" he asked. His first officer, Commander Nick Bradley, checked his screen. 3 days, sir. Maybe longer. The signal is very weak. Any other ships in the area? No, sir. We are the closest by 2 weeks. Jake looked at the star map. Kepler 442b was a small planet far from the main space routes. It was the kind of place people went when they wanted to hide. "Set course for the planet," Jake ordered. "Best speed." Dr. Lisa Grant looked up from her medical station. "Captain, what kind of distress signal is it?" "Medical emergency." "Unknown. The signal is too broken to understand. We will know more when we get there." The ship moved through space toward the distant planet. Jake had been a captain for 10 years, but something about this felt wrong. The signal was coming from a place that was not supposed to have people. 2 days later, they reached the planet. It was a cold world, mostly rock and ice. There was only one structure on the surface, a small research station. "Scan the station," Jake ordered. Bradley worked at his controls. "I am reading no life signs, sir, but there is power in some parts of the building." "What about the distress signal?" "Still broadcasting from inside the station." Jake studied the readings. The station was damaged. Parts of it were destroyed by weapons fire. But what kind of weapons? "Lisa, get your medical kit. Nick, bring a security team. We are going down." They took a small shuttle to the planet's surface. The station was worse than the scans had shown. Holes were burned through the walls. The metal was melted in strange patterns. "These are not human weapons," Nick said, looking at the damage. "No," Jake agreed. "These are alien weapons, but which species?" They entered the station through a hole in the wall. Inside, everything was broken, computers were smashed, papers were burned. Someone had tried very hard to destroy all evidence of what happened here. Lisa used her medical scanner. "I am reading one life sign. Very weak. This way." They followed her deeper into the station. The corridors were dark and cold. Their lights showed more destruction. Whatever happened here, it was violent. "Here," Lisa said, stopping at a door. "Behind this door." Nick and his security team went first. The room was small and dark. In the corner, they found her. She was a little girl, maybe 8 years old. Her clothes were torn and dirty. She was unconscious, but breathing. "My God," Lisa whispered. She knelt beside the child and began checking her with the medical scanner. "Is she hurt?" Jake asked. Lisa's face went white as she read the scanner. "Captain, you need to see this." Jake looked at the scanner readings. He did not understand all the medical terms, but he understood enough. The child had been cut open multiple times. There were strange objects inside her body that did not belong. "Someone did surgery on her," Lisa said quietly. "Many times. These are not medical procedures. These are experiments," Jake finished. Nick was searching the room. "Captain, look at this." On the floor were pieces of equipment, strange tools that no human would use for medicine. There were also broken data pads with writing in alien languages. "Can you read any of this?" Jake asked. Nick picked up one of the pads. "Some of it. This is Zenthari writing. And this part, this is Vorak." Jake felt cold. The Zenthari and Vorak were members of the Galactic Council. They were supposed to be friends with humanity. "We need to get her back to the ship," Lisa said. "Right now she needs medical attention." They carried the child carefully back to the shuttle. Lisa worked on her during the flight back to their ship. The child's breathing was weak, but she was alive. Back on the ship, Lisa took the child to the medical bay. Jake and Nick waited outside while she worked. "What do you think happened here?" Nick asked. "I think someone was using that place to hurt people," Jake said. "And I think they were doing it to humans." Hours later, Lisa came out of the medical bay. She looked tired and angry. "Alive, but barely. Captain, what they did to her." Lisa stopped talking and shook her head. "Tell me." "They put things inside her body. Electronic things. They cut into her brain. They have been doing this for months, maybe longer." Jake felt sick. Who would do this to a child? "I found something else," Lisa said. "She has been trying to talk. She says words sometimes when she sleeps." "What words?" "She keeps saying clicking sounds and cold hands. And she says a name. Amy. I think that is her name." Jake looked through the window at the child. She was so small and hurt. Who could do this to someone so young? "There is more," Lisa said. "I found identification in her clothes. Her name is Amy Collins. Her parents were Robert and Mary Collins." Jake knew those names. The diplomats. They were killed in a transport accident 6 months ago. "Maybe it was not an accident," Nick said quietly. Jake thought about this. Robert and Mary Collins had been human ambassadors to the Galactic Council. They had been working on some kind of important agreement when they died. "We need to contact Earth Command," Jake said. "This is bigger than just one hurt child." As if she heard him, Amy opened her eyes. She looked around the room with fear. When she saw Jake, she tried to speak. "Safe," she whispered. "Are you safe?" "Yes," Jake said softly. "You are safe now. We are humans. We will not hurt you." Amy closed her eyes again, but Jake could see tears on her face. "What do we do now?" Nick asked. Jake looked at the child, then at his crew. Someone had tortured a human child. Someone had killed her parents and someone had tried to hide all evidence of what they had done. "We find out who did this," Jake said. "And we make them pay." The investigation. Jake Morrison sent his report to Earth Command 3 hours after finding Amy. The message was marked with the highest priority codes. Within a day, his communication system was full of calls from important people. The first call came from General Kate Williams. Her face appeared on the screen and Jake could see she was angry. "Captain Morrison, I have read your report. Are you certain about what you found?" "Yes, General. Dr. Grant has all the medical evidence. Someone tortured this child for months. And you believe aliens did this?" "The weapons used on the station were alien. The equipment we found has alien writing and the child keeps talking about clicking sounds. That is how the Zentari speak." General Williams was quiet for a moment. "Captain, I am sending Agent Ryan Torres to your ship. He will arrive in 2 days. Until then, you speak to no one about this. Do you understand?" "Yes, General. And Captain, keep that child alive. She may be the only witness we have." 2 days later, Agent Torres arrived on a fast military ship. He was a thin man with cold eyes who spoke very little. Jake did not like him immediately. "I need to see everything," Torres said. "The station, the evidence, the child." Jake showed him all the pieces of alien equipment they had found. Torres examined each piece carefully, taking pictures and making notes. "This is definitely Zentari," Torres said, holding up a strange tool. "And this one is Vorak. But look at this." He showed Jake a small device. "This is Kalani technology. 3 different species work together on whatever they were doing." "3 council species?" Jake asked. "Yes. Species that are supposed to be our friends. Torres spent hours with Dr. Grant looking at Amy's medical scans. When he came out of the medical bay, his face was white. What they did to her, Torres said quietly. It was not just torture. It was research. What kind of research? They were testing how much pain a human child could survive. They were mapping her nervous system. They were seeing how her brain worked when she was afraid. Jake felt sick. Why? I think they were trying to find ways to hurt humans. Better ways, more effective ways. That night, Torres sent coded messages back to Earth. Jake tried to sleep, but he could not stop thinking about Amy. The child was getting better, but she still woke up screaming from nightmares. The next morning, Torres had news. I have been looking at records on Earth, he said. Amy's parents were not killed in an accident. Their transport was sabotaged. By who? Unknown. But Robert Collins was working on something important before he died. He had discovered something about the Galactic Council that they did not want him to know. What did he discover? That is what we need to find out. Torres showed Jake a list of names. These are other humans who have disappeared in the last year. Diplomats, scientists, traders. All of them were working with Council species. How many? 17 that we know of. Maybe more. Jake studied the list. You think they were all taken for experiments? I think someone on the Council decided that humans are a problem that needs to be solved. That afternoon, Ambassador Helen Scott called from the Council headquarters. She was Earth's main representative to the alien governments. Captain Morrison, I have heard about what you found. Is the child really as badly hurt as the reports say? Worse, Jake said. Dr. Grant says it is a miracle she is still alive. I have been asking questions here on the Council station. The Zenthari, Vorak, and Kalani governments all say they know nothing about this. Do you believe them? Ambassador Scott was quiet for a moment. No, but I cannot prove they are lying. Not yet. What about the other missing humans? That is more complicated. The Council says those people left their jobs and went to remote colonies. They have documents that seem to prove it. Fake documents probably, but they look real. Jake felt frustrated. So, what do we do? We investigate carefully. If we accuse the Council species without solid proof, it could mean war. Maybe war is what we need, Jake said. Captain, you do not understand. Humanity is outnumbered. If the Council species united against us, they could destroy every human world. After the call ended, Jake went to see Amy. The child was awake, sitting up in the medical bed. She looked better, but her eyes were still full of fear. Hello, Amy, Jake said softly. How are you feeling? Better, she whispered. The doctor lady is nice. Amy, can you tell me about the people who hurt you? What did they look like? Amy's face became scared. They had big eyes and their hands were cold. They made clicking sounds when they talked. Anything else? They wore white clothes and they had a symbol on their clothes, like a circle with lines through it. Jake knew that symbol. It was the mark of the Galactic Council Medical Research Division. Amy, did they say anything about your parents? Tears came to Amy's eyes. They said Mama and Papa were never coming back. They said I was alone now and no one would look for me. Jake felt anger growing inside him. Well, they were wrong. We found you and we are going to make sure they never hurt anyone again. That night, Jake called General Williams again. General, we have proof. The child can identify Council species and she saw their official symbols. That is not enough for a war crimes trial, Captain. Then what do we need? We need to find where they took the other missing humans. We need to find their main research facility. Jake thought about this. General, what if the other humans are already dead? Then we need to find their bodies. The council needs to answer for what they have done. And if they refuse to answer? General Williams was quiet for a long moment. Then we remind them why humans have survived every war we have ever fought, Captain. We remind them that we do not forgive and we do not forget. The call ended and Jake stood looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, aliens who called themselves civilized had torture chambers where they hurt human children. They thought they could do this without consequences. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The truth. 3 weeks after finding Amy, Jake Morrison received orders to bring his ship to Earth. The child was stable enough to travel and the government wanted to see her in person. During the journey, Dr. Lisa Grant made a terrible discovery. "Captain, you need to see this," she said, her voice shaking. Jake came to the medical bay where Amy was sleeping. Lisa showed him the latest brain scans. "The devices they put in her head are still active," Lisa said. "They are slowly releasing poison into her brain. Can you remove them?" "I tried, but they are connected to too many important parts of her brain. If I try to take them out, she will die." "How long does she have?" "Maybe a month, maybe less." Jake felt sick. The aliens had not just tortured Amy. They had made sure she would die slowly, even if someone rescued her. When they reached Earth, Amy was taken to the best hospital on the planet. Dr. Ben Harris, Earth's top brain doctor, examined her for hours. "I have never seen anything like this," Dr. Harris told Jake. "These devices are designed to kill her, but very slowly. Whoever made them wanted her to suffer as much as possible before she died." Jake met with President Alan Davis that same day. The president was a calm man who rarely showed anger. But when he saw Amy's medical files, his face became hard. "Captain Morrison, I want you to tell me everything. Leave out nothing." Jake told the president about finding Amy, about the alien equipment, about the missing humans. He told him about Agent Torres's investigation and what they had learned about the conspiracy. "And you believe the Galactic Council is behind this?" "Not the whole council, sir, but at least 3 species, maybe more." President Davis was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Captain, what you are telling me could start a war that humanity might not win." "Sir, they are already at war with us. They just have not told us yet." The next day, Ambassador Helen Scott returned from the council headquarters. She met with the president and his advisors in the White House. "I presented our evidence to the council," she said. "They have agreed to investigate." "What kind of investigation?" asked Admiral Tony Clark, the head of Earth's space fleet. "They are forming a committee. 3 council species will review the evidence and decide if any laws were broken." "Let me guess," said General Williams. "The 3 species on the committee are the Zenthari, Vorak, and Kalani." Ambassador Scott looked uncomfortable. "How did you know?" "Because they are investigating themselves," General Williams said angrily. "They will find that they did nothing wrong." "We have to give them a chance," Ambassador Scott said. "If we accuse them without letting them respond, it will look like we want war." For 2 weeks, the council's investigation continued. During that time, Amy's condition got worse. The poison from the brain devices was making her weak and confused. Sometimes, she forgot where she was or who Jake was. Dr. Harris worked day and night to find a way to save her. But the alien devices were too complex and too dangerous to remove. "They designed these things to be perfect murder weapons," Dr. Harris told Jake. "Even if we had the aliens who made them here to help us, I do not think we could save her." Finally, the council's investigation was complete. Ambassador Scott returned to Earth with their decision. She met with President Davis, General Williams, Admiral Clark, and Jake in the president's office. "The council has decided that the research station was operated by a small group of rogue scientists," she said. "They were not acting under orders from any government." "Rogue scientists," General Williams laughed bitterly. With military weapons and official council medical equipment. The council says these scientists stole the equipment. They have arrested 3 individuals who they say are responsible for everything. What about the other missing humans? Jake asked. The council says there are no other missing humans. They say our people simply chose to move to distant colonies and do not want to be contacted. President Davis stood up. Helen, do you believe this? Ambassador Scott looked away. It does not matter what I believe. This is what the council has decided. Actually, it does matter, said a new voice from the doorway. Agent Torres entered the room carrying a data pad. I have been busy while the council was conducting their fake investigation, Torres said. I found something interesting. He activated the data pad and a hologram appeared in the air. It showed the inside of a large facility with many rooms. This is a council research station in the Riel system. It is still operating and it is full of human prisoners. Everyone in the room stared at the hologram. They could see humans in cages, humans on operating tables, humans being tortured by alien scientists. How did you get this? President Davis asked. I have sources in the Council Intelligence Services. People who are disgusted by what their governments are doing. How many humans are being held there? At least 50, maybe more. And this is just one facility. My sources think there are others. President Davis sat down heavily. So the council lied to us. They did more than lie, Torres said. While they were pretending to investigate, they were moving evidence and killing witnesses. The 3 aliens they arrested? They are not rogue scientists. They are low-level technicians who were following orders. What about the real people in charge? General Williams asked. They are still free, still in charge of their governments, still members of the council. That night, Jake sat with Amy in her hospital room. The child was very weak now. The poison was winning. Amy, Jake said softly. I need to ask you something important. Okay, she whispered. The people who hurt you, do you remember anything else about them? Anything that could help us find them? Amy thought for a moment. They had a big boss, a Zenthari with scars on his face. He watched sometimes when they hurt me. He seemed to enjoy it. Did he have a name? They called him High Researcher Teclon. He said humans were like animals and it was okay to hurt animals if it helped science. Jake wrote down the name. High Researcher Teclon was the head of the Zenthari Medical Research Division. He was one of the most respected scientists in the galaxy. Amy, there is something else. The people in charge want to make a deal with the aliens. They want to forget about what happened to you in exchange for money and technology. Amy's eyes filled with tears. They want to forget about me. Some of them do, but not all of us. Some of us think that what happened to you was wrong, and the people who did it should be punished. What will happen if they make the deal? Jake was quiet for a moment. Then the aliens who hurt you will never be punished and they might hurt other children too. Amy closed her eyes. I do not want other children to be hurt like me. Neither do I. The next morning, President Davis called a meeting of his top advisors. The council had made their final offer. In exchange for dropping all charges, they would give humanity advanced medical technology, new trade agreements, and access to restricted areas of space. This technology could save millions of human lives, said the president's science advisor. And the trade agreements could make Earth rich. But if we take this deal, we are telling the galaxy that it is okay to torture human children, General Williams said. One child, said the president's economic advisor. One child versus the future of our entire species. Jake spoke up. Sir, Amy is dying because of what they did to her. She has maybe a week left to live. Are we really going to let her die for nothing? President Davis looked around the room at all his advisors. Half of them wanted to take the deal. Half wanted justice for Amy. Give me until tomorrow, the president said. I will decide then. That night, President Davis visited Amy in the hospital. The child was barely conscious, but she opened her eyes when she saw him. Are you the president? She asked weakly. Yes, I am. Are you going to let them get away with what they did to me? President Davis looked at this small, dying child who had suffered so much. He thought about all the other humans who might be suffering in alien research facilities. He thought about the message it would send to the galaxy if humanity accepted blood money in exchange for a child's life. No, he said firmly. I am not going to let them get away with it. Amy smiled for the first time since Jake had found her. Good. Make them sorry they ever hurt a human child. The next morning, President Davis rejected the council's offer. He demanded that the real people responsible for torturing Amy be turned over for trial. When the council refused, he did something no one expected. He declared war on the Galactic Council. If they want to treat us like animals, he said in his speech to the nation, then we will show them what kind of animals humans can be. The war. After President Davis declared war, everything changed very quickly. General Kate Williams called Jake Morrison to her office the day after the declaration. When Jake arrived, he found the room full of military officers he had never seen before. Captain Morrison, meet Colonel Jack Evans, General Williams said. He runs our special operations. Colonel Evans was a big man with cold eyes and scars on his hands. He looked like someone who had seen many fights. Captain, you found the girl, Evans said. You started all of this. Do you understand what that means? I think so, sir. It means you are responsible for what happens next. Are you ready for that? Jake thought about Amy dying in her hospital bed. Yes, sir. I am ready. Good, because we are about to show the galaxy something they have never seen before. General Williams activated a large screen on the wall. It showed a map of human space, but there were many more dots than Jake expected. For 30 years, we have been preparing for this day, General Williams said. While we talked peace with the council, we built a secret military. Major Sue Parker, a woman with short hair and a serious face, pointed to the dots on the map. Hidden shipyards in distant systems, secret weapons factories on remote asteroids, training bases where no alien has ever been. How many ships? Jake asked. 3,000 combat vessels, Colonel Evans said. Built with technology the council does not know we have. What kind of technology? Captain Pete Robinson, a thin man with pilot marks on his uniform, answered. We learned from Earth's history, Captain. Every war humans ever fought, we learned something new about killing. Major Parker brought up new images on the screen. Nuclear weapons that the council banned for being too cruel. Biological weapons that target specific alien species, chemical weapons that cause fear instead of death. Jake felt uncomfortable. Are we going to use all of these? That depends on the council, General Williams said. We gave them a chance to do the right thing. They chose to protect child torturers instead. Colonel Evans stood up. Captain, let me explain something about human warfare. Other species fight to win territory or resources. Humans fight to destroy our enemies completely. The council species do not understand this, Major Parker added. They think war has rules. They think some things are too terrible to do. They are about to learn that humans do not follow their rules, Captain Robinson said. General Williams showed Jake more secret information. For 30 years, human spies have been mapping every council world. They knew where aliens lived, where they worked, where their children went to school. We know everything about them, General Williams said. But they know almost nothing about us. What is our plan? Jake asked. Colonel Evans smiled, but it was not a happy smile. We are going to teach them that hurting human children has consequences. Very bad consequences. That afternoon, Jake was taken to a secret base on the dark side of Earth's moon. The base was huge, built inside old mining tunnels. Thousands of soldiers were training there. "These are our psychological warfare specialists," Colonel Evans explained. As they walked through the base, Jake watched soldiers practicing strange things. Some were learning to make horrible sounds that would scare aliens. Others were studying alien psychology, learning what frightened different species most. "The Council species are not used to being afraid," Major Parker said. "They have been the powerful ones for so long, they forgot what fear feels like." "We are going to remind them," Colonel Evans said. They showed Jake the weapons they had built. Not just guns and bombs, but things designed to cause terror. "Holographic projectors that can make aliens see their worst nightmares," Captain Robinson explained. "Sound weapons that cause panic. Drugs that make entire populations paranoid and afraid. This is not about defeating their armies," Colonel Evans said. "This is about breaking their minds." That evening, Jake visited Amy in the hospital. The child was very weak now. Dr. Harris said she had only a few days left. "Amy, I need to tell you something," Jake said, sitting beside her bed. "What?" she whispered. "We are going to war because of what they did to you. We are going to make sure they never hurt another human child." Amy's eyes got wide. "Will people die?" "Yes, a lot of people will die." "Good people or bad people?" Jake thought about this. "Both. War always kills both." Amy was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I do not want good people to die because of me." "Amy, this is not your fault. This is the fault of the people who hurt you. But if I had not been found, there would be no war. If you had not been found, they would have kept hurting children. Maybe forever." Amy closed her eyes. "Will you do something for me?" "Anything. Record my voice. I want to tell the galaxy what they did to me. I want everyone to know." Jake nodded. "We will record everything you want to say." The next day, Amy made her recording. Even though she was very weak, she told her story clearly. She described every torture, every experiment, every moment of pain the aliens had caused her. "My name is Amy Collins," she said at the end of the recording. "I was 8 years old when they took me. I will be dead soon because of what they did. I want everyone to know that humans do not forget and humans do not forgive." Amy died 2 days later. Dr. Harris said the brain devices finally released enough poison to kill her. Her last words were, "Make them remember me." After Amy's death, President Davis made another speech to the nation. "They killed a child to hide their crimes," he said. "They thought we would be too civilized to make them pay. They were wrong." The president authorized something called Protocol Darkness. Jake did not know what it meant until Colonel Evans explained it to him. "Protocol Darkness means we fight without rules," Evans said. "No mercy, no limits, no stopping until they surrender completely." "What about their civilians?" Jake asked. "What about Amy?" Evans replied. "She was a civilian, too." Admiral Tony Clark called a meeting of all ship captains. Jake joined hundreds of other officers in a massive briefing room. "In 48 hours, we begin Operation Nightmare," Admiral Clark announced. "Our target is not their military. Our target is their children." The room was very quiet. Jake raised his hand. "Sir, are we going to hurt alien children?" "No, Captain. We are going to terrorize them. We are going to make every alien child in the galaxy wake up screaming, thinking about what their people did to Amy Collins." Major Parker explained the plan. Human ships would attack schools and playgrounds on 17 Council worlds, but they would not kill the children. Instead, they would use psychological weapons to traumatize them. "Every alien child will hear Amy's story," Major Parker said. "They will see holographic recordings of what was done to her. They will have nightmares for the rest of their lives. The goal is to create a generation of alien children who are afraid of humans, Colonel Evans added. Who will never let their governments hurt human children again. Captain Robinson showed them the ships they would use, fast, invisible vessels that could appear anywhere without warning. We will hit them simultaneously across the galaxy, Robinson said. By the time they realize what is happening, it will be too late to stop us. Jake looked around the room at all the other captains. They all had the same expression, determination mixed with sadness. No one wanted to wage war on children. But Amy Collins had been a child, too. Remember, Admiral Clark said as the meeting ended, we are not doing this because we enjoy it. We are doing this because someone has to make sure that torturing human children has consequences. If we do not do this, they will do it again. Jake returned to his ship and prepared for war. His crew was quiet and serious. They all knew what they were about to do. Captain, Commander Nick Bradley said, are we really going to attack alien children? We are going to make sure they never forget what happened to Amy. Jake replied. Whatever it takes. The war was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why humans were the most dangerous species in the universe. Operation Nightmare. Operation Nightmare began at exactly midnight, Earth time. Jake Morrison watched from the bridge of his ship as human vessels appeared above 17 different council worlds at the same moment. The aliens had no warning. Their sensors could not detect the human ships until it was too late. All ships report ready, Captain, Commander Nick Bradley said. Begin the operation, Jake ordered. On the planet below, Zenthari children were sleeping in their beds when the sky began to glow. Massive holographic projectors created images in the air above every city. The images showed Amy Collins, the little human girl who had been tortured and killed. The holograms were huge, visible from hundreds of miles away. Amy's voice spoke in perfect Zenthari language, telling her story to every alien who could see or hear. My name is Amy Collins. I was 8 years old when your people took me from my parents. They cut me open while I was awake. They put poison in my brain. They did this because I was human and they wanted to learn how to hurt humans better. On 17 worlds, billions of alien children woke up to see and hear Amy's testimony. The images were designed to be terrifying, but not harmful. The aliens would remember this night for the rest of their lives. Captain Pete Robinson's squadron hit the Vorak home world next. His ships appeared over schools and playgrounds, broadcasting recordings of Amy's torture sessions. The sounds of her screams echoed across entire continents. The goal is not to hurt them, Robinson told his pilots. The goal is to make them understand what they did to us. But the psychological weapons did more than just show images and sounds. They used alien brain patterns against them. Zenthari children began having panic attacks. Vorak youngsters became afraid of the dark. Kalani students stopped eating. On Earth, General Kate Williams watched reports coming in from all 17 worlds. Sir, the alien governments are trying to contact us, Major Sue Parker reported. They want to negotiate. Tell them we will talk when they surrender the people who tortured Amy, General Williams replied. They say those people are too important to give up. Then we continue the operation. The second phase began 12 hours later. Human ships started attacking alien military bases, but not with regular weapons. They used fear itself as a weapon. Colonel Jack Evans led the attack on the main Zenthari military command center. His ships did not try to destroy the base. Instead, they filled it with gas that made the aliens see their worst nightmares. Zenthari soldiers ran screaming from their posts. Officers abandoned their duties. The entire military command structure collapsed in less than an hour, not from damage, but from terror. This is more effective than any bomb, Evans reported to General Williams. Their military is falling apart without us firing a single shot. On the Vorak capital world, the government building was surrounded by human ships broadcasting Amy's story on repeat. Vorak leaders tried to work, but they could not concentrate with the constant reminder of what their species had done to a human child. Make it stop, the Vorak Prime Minister begged during a communication with Earth. We will give you anything you want. Give us High Researcher Teclon and his team, President Davis responded. Give us the people who tortured Amy Collins. I cannot. He is too valuable to our science programs. Then your children will continue to have nightmares. The psychological campaign continued for weeks. Human ships appeared and disappeared without warning. Alien children could not sleep. Parents could not comfort them. Entire civilizations began to break down as fear spread through their populations. Dr. Ben Harris, who had tried to save Amy, worked with the military to design new psychological weapons. We are not just fighting their governments, he explained to Jake during one of their communications. We are fighting their entire culture. We are making them afraid of what they are. The breaking point came after 1 month of psychological warfare. The Kalani government was the first to crack. We surrender, the Kalani emperor announced. We will give you anyone you want. Just please make it stop. The Kalani handed over 12 of their top scientists, including the ones who had designed the brain devices that killed Amy. They also gave Earth the locations of 3 more secret research facilities where humans were being held. Agent Ryan Torres led the rescue missions to free the human prisoners. What they found was worse than anyone had imagined. There are over 200 humans in these facilities, Torres reported. Some have been here for years. They have been used for every kind of experiment imaginable. The rescued humans told stories that made even hardened soldiers cry. Children younger than Amy. Adults who had been driven insane by torture. Families who had been separated and experimented on while being forced to watch each other suffer. This was not about science, one of the rescued prisoners told Jake. This was about hatred. They hated us for being different, for being successful, for being human. When the news of the research facilities spread across the galaxy, public opinion began to change. Many alien species who had supported the Council started to question what their governments had been doing. The Vorak government fell next. Their people, horrified by what they learned about the torture facilities, overthrew their leaders and begged humanity for mercy. We did not know, the new Vorak government said. Our leaders lied to us. We are ashamed of what was done in our name. The Zenthri held out the longest. High Researcher Teclon, the alien who had watched Amy's torture, appeared on galactic news networks to defend his actions. Humans are a disease that threatens all civilized species, he said. What we did was necessary research to protect the galaxy from their violence. His speech was a mistake. Seeing the alien who had caused Amy's death trying to justify it made even peaceful humans angry. Support for the war increased across all human worlds. Jake Morrison was given the honor of capturing Teclon personally. His ship found a Zenthri research vessel trying to escape to deep space. Teclon, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship Defiance. You are under arrest for crimes against humanity. I do not recognize human authority, Teclon replied. You are animals pretending to be civilized. Amy Collins was 8 years old, Jake said. You watched while your people tortured her. You are going to pay for that. The capture was easy. The Zenthri ship had no weapons, only research equipment. When Jake's security team boarded the vessel, they found records of hundreds of experiments on human prisoners. Teclon was brought to Earth for trial. The proceedings were broadcast across the galaxy. For the first time, aliens saw detailed evidence of what had been done to human prisoners. The trial lasted 3 days. Teclon showed no remorse for his actions. He insisted that humans deserved whatever happened to them. You call us monsters, he said from the witness stand. But look what you have done to our children. You have made them afraid to sleep. Yes, said the human prosecutor. And they will stay afraid until every human child you tortured is avenged. Teclon was found guilty and sentenced to experience every experiment he had performed on human prisoners. The sentence was carried out live on galactic television. The war ended 6 months after it began. The Galactic Council was dissolved, replaced by the human hegemony. Earth became the dominant power in the galaxy, ruling through a combination of fear and superior technology. Other alien species submitted to human authority rather than face the psychological warfare that had broken the 3 council species. They had seen what happened to civilizations that harmed human children. Jake Morrison was promoted to admiral and put in charge of the new Galactic Peace Force. His first order was to build a monument to Amy Collins on every human world. The monuments all carried the same message: Amy Collins, age 8, tortured and murdered by the Galactic Council. Never forgotten, never forgiven. Years later, Jake visited Amy's grave on Earth. The small headstone was covered with flowers from humans across the galaxy. "We did it, Amy," he said quietly. "We made them remember you. We made sure no other human child will suffer like you did." The galaxy was peaceful now, but it was a peace built on fear. Alien children grew up knowing that humans were not to be crossed. Alien governments knew that harming a human would bring terrible consequences. Humanity had become the monsters they had once feared. But in a galaxy where civilized species tortured children for science, perhaps monsters were exactly what was needed. The age of human dominance had begun, built on the grave of one small girl who had suffered so that others would not have to.